Hello everybody, welcome back. As you couldn't tell by that, we are visiting Roblox Industrialist, where you build factories and make money. And I know I'm a bit late to the party, but better late than never. You'll get to watch me play this game and make absolute profits. Without further ado, let us. Day 1. In the beginning, I start off with 50 research points and $1,000. Now, 50 research points can give me a couple of things to unlock. But $1,000 though, can get you a whole lot of stuff, like a ton of coal drills. And since coal drills are just $50, you would assume that I would just place a ton of them, right? Well, wrong. Since each of them needs power, I will need to spend more money to power them. And what we can afford right now are just these dirty solar panels, which are good on their own, but they can only power about one coal drill with full power at a time, which is what I want. Also, solar panels are like $80. No. So I just started off with the basics of the game with a very basic money farm. 5 coal drills with 5 solar panels and pipes connecting them to a truck so I can sell 10 pieces of coal. And then I made my first bit of money. Fairly easy and simple to do. I should also probably explain what these tools are at the bottom of the screen. The first tool just allows you to place stuff like machines and pipes. The second tool just allows you to connect electrical stuff to machines and pipes for some reason, but you can see that later. The third tool just allows you to redirect pipes into wherever you want them to go. Just click the pipe and just drag the arrow to the next pipe to your desired destination. And the last one, I think is pretty self-explanatory. I don't even need to explain it. But a little while later, I decided this simple money farm wasn't enough. So I decided to go ahead and build 3 more. This money farm is only so good for a little bit. So eventually, you're gonna have to upgrade this to unlock new materials so you can sell them and make even more money. And of course, this wouldn't be a factory game if it didn't have a very long production line. I should also explain what research points do. Research points just allow you to unlock new things. Research points can be gained by using research stations. At the very start of your playthrough, you have access to Research Station 1. You can place it down and hook it up to a ton of solar panels just to power it on. 6 or 7 can do fine for one station. For every 13 seconds, you get about 30. Okay, I actually misread. Research Station 1. It actually takes 23 seconds to produce RP or research points. And the cooldown is 13 seconds. Yeah. You get about 30 research points. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, compared to the more later machines, this amount simply isn't enough, which is why you can unlock a second research station mid-game. These research points can be used to unlock new machines, new pipes, storage, logic, or whatever. And also allows you to unlock new ways of making electricity. And these dirty solar panels aren't going to be enough for those future machines and production lines we're going to do. So we're going to have to upgrade these. Anyways, now that we got all the explanation out of the way for this part, I placed down 3 research stations and also went on ahead to start researching wind turbines. We'll play a big part later. A little while later, I went on ahead to unlock a new item to sell, copper. You will only be with coal for just a short amount of time before you have to switch to copper. And I went on ahead to unlock the electric furnace and the ingot molder. The electric furnace just melts ores into a hot liquid form of it. And the ingot molder. So I went on ahead to just get rid of all the coal farms so I can make room for the copper farms. Now this is where the production lines come into play. For my copper production line, I came up with this design. 5 copper extractors, even though 4 are being used, with 5 solar panels connecting to them. Then they get brought to the furnace by item pipe, which the furnace uses 6 solar panels to work, or I use 6. Do whatever you want with yours. Then they get brought to the ingot molder by a fluid pipe, which I don't even need to explain what the fluid pipe is even for. Then they are brought over to the truck to be sold for a nice $267. Then I went on ahead to build 2 more of these. This is also where I unlocked Wind Turbine 2, which is the best energy producer ever. It can work all day and make a decent amount of electricity. And I also unlocked the NV battery, which I just used to just extend power lines. And I could use LV poles, but it sucks since it can't hold that much energy. And also apparently I used one wind turbine to power all of that. So yeah, very good. I also went ahead and unlocked more things, but what I really wanted was the boiler, which will be important on day 2. And that's all I did for day 1. And there was evening and there was morning, the first day. After my successes on day 1, I went to bed. But before I did so, I left Industrialist AFKing overnight. And when I woke up, can you imagine my surprise? I came back to an astonishing $132,221 and 9,120 research points, which is a crazy amount for me from just one AFK session. The first thing I did was unlock a whole lot of stuff with the points I gathered. First thing I unlocked was the boiler. Remember that? Then it was the modular tree farm, sawmill, press, roller, iron drills, and better item pipes, and the beginnings of storage silos. Next, and this was off camera, I removed all the things I placed. Everything I placed at the end of day 1, removed. And I went and built a better research production, minus $30,000. And went and started the makings of iron. This is my design. 6 iron drills with pipes going into an electric furnace, going into the nya. Basically, it's just the same as the copper design, but with one difference: the press. What do you think the press does? It just presses iron ingots into iron plates. We sell more than iron ingots, so yeah, more money. Then I built this design one more time for more money. Then I discovered that you can put iron ingots into sawmills to get more plates. Normally, you would put iron ingots into a press to get plates. But if you put them into a sawmill, which is mostly used for wood products, you get 4 plates. Seems like a no-brainer, right? Just use the sawmill. Well, for the press, it makes 1 plate every 5.1 seconds. But the sawmill takes 4 times that time to make 4 plates. No, it takes too much time. Also, it takes too much space. But then after looking a bit further, I figured out that an industrial sawmill can do this in just half the time. Well, I think we have a new objective. The problem wouldn't be the research point cost. No, it would be the amount it takes just to place it, since it takes $75,000 just to place one. So yeah, really expensive. But I went on a bit of a detour and realized that I could unlock Research Station 2. This would be a good investment, since this is significantly more better at making RP than Research Station 1. There's just one difference with Station 2. Can you see what it is? Sure, it still needs electricity, but it has one other thing. Water. Yep, this thing also needs water to work. That's easy enough. But instead of the water pumps that I got at the beginning, I wanted water pump 2. This is significantly more faster than pump 1. Also, there are different types of water. There's normal water,
machine oil,
and distilled water. Normal water is what I'm currently using, and distilled water can be made in an atmospheric distilled... basically this machine. Anyways, I went and built a setup for my new research production. Now, we are making significantly more RP than before. Then, I got rid of my starter production farms, and now we're going to upgrade this farm with our new machine, the industrial sawmill. Little seconds after I got rid of the beginner farms, I tried to place the industrial sawmill and I realized I didn't have it. But since with my immense locking in and building a new research farm production, I realized I could just afford it, so yeah, I just unlocked it, yeah. And got this as well, I guess. Now, the industrial sawmill has one difference from the normal sawmill. It needs steam. And how do we get steam? Well, remember back on day 1 when I said the boiler would be imported on day 2? The boiler, which will be important on day 2. Well, this is exactly what we need in order to make steam. You need a water pump and power. Then that water goes into a geothermal well, which just heats the water. Then we put that heated water into another well to make hot water. Then it goes into the boiler. Then you insert the water, then it comes out, and then you wrap the water pipe back into itself onto the other insert area, and boom, you have steam. Now, for our iron plate production, it's the same as the original one. We just now have the industrial sawmill. Same layout, just with a different machine. So, let's build it. finished. But then, after a bit of letting this form run, I said, it's very slow at making iron ingots, so what if I just added more drills? So I decided to get rid of the design and build a new. Better production of plates, but I'm just adding more iron drills since I want an overflow of items, because I wanted to continuously make plates non-stop. And done. This time I added something different. A new sales truck. A van depot, or depot, I don't know how to say that. It is just the same as a truck depot, but instead of selling 10 items at a time, it sells 85 items at a time. More time, more money. Okay, so I want to make even more money. And the plates we're producing right now are fine, but I want something different. Oil. Oil will be the next step in my journey of becoming filthy rich. So let's get started on the design. Okay, so finally I came up with this. 5 oil extractors, then it goes into 2 liquid boilers, which just heats the crude oil we've produced and heats it into hot crude oil. Then it goes into a crude oil separator, which separates the hot crude oil into 3 different liquids: crude diesel and gasoline. Then it goes into a diesel refinery, then it goes into another, then another, which gets me refined diesel, which sells for $40 for 1 piece of diesel, which then goes into a liquid truck, also a thing I unlocked a while ago. But instead of selling items, it sells liquids, you know, like what it says in the name. And it also sells 400 things at a time, so it gives me a huge amount of money. And also, I sell the gasoline since it also sells for an equal amount of money, so I also put it in another truck to be sold as well. But now, we have another problem. So, this production of diesel is fine, but now we have another thing that also gets released while the diesel is getting refined. Residue. Residue is useless. It can't be used for anything, and also it subtracts money if you sell it. So, no, I'm not gonna use it. So now, I use those storage silos that I unlocked a while ago. So, I'm just going to store the residue in a place where I don't have to worry about it. Totally won't be a problem for me in the future. But anyways, I think you know that one of these isn't enough for me since I want money. So I went and built 4 more of these. And this was an absolute pain to do. Like, I needed to place every single piece of equipment bit by bit. And there's no copy and paste tool that I can use, or not that I know of. So yeah, very not fun to do. But if it's for money, I'll do it. Also, during the construction of the second refined diesel production, I was a bit confused as to why it wasn't working, since normally these would emit a black smoke letting me know that it's active. So I went through the pipes seeing what was wrong, and because of a singular pipe, this thing wasn't working. Yep, it was because of one pipe. So I made sure to check every pipe for the remaining 3. And so I left in the inventory until later that night. I'll just keep this short. Basically, I just spent the remainder of day 2 making a better, more compact version of the iron plate production. 12 iron drills, then it goes in, and you get the point of it. But instead of having to make a steam maker for every single production line, I made it so just one steam maker and just distributed the steam all throughout the 4 plate production lines. And also, since the boiler makes a lot, and I mean a lot of steam, I decided to put the excess steam in a silo, a liquid silo. But this time, I'm gonna use a gold liquid silo. So instead of storing 3,000 liquid, I don't even know how to say that, it holds 1 million. Just that it costs $100,000 just to place it, but I have the money, so it doesn't matter. But I also messed around with logic for a bit, trying to figure out how it works. But ultimately, I couldn't figure it out. Then, I unlocked the last item to research about solar power. Solar Farm 1. This produces an insane amount of energy. 1 mm of energy. And this thing also has 4 things where you can connect lines to. So this thing makes 4 mm of energy. To put it in perspective, just connecting 1 line can power my entire farm of iron plate production and still have the energy to spare. So I got rid of my research stations and made my source of power the Solar Farm 1. And I used the gold liquid silos again so I can store the excess amount of water produced. And after a ton of confusion of how to link up all the power to the stations, I finally got it working. You can't see it in the recording since the world was suspiciously getting more and more unable to see. But eventually, I got it all working amid the fog. And there was evening and there was morning, the second day. So, I came back that morning and saw something interesting, to say the least. I left Industrialist on when I went to bed, and when I came back, if you've been paying attention, you may have noticed some clips of a world of brown fog. Well, this is it. I've been teasing day 3 since the very start of the video. I knew pollution would be a problem. I just didn't know it would be this bad. Like, look at this. Just very polluting and impossible to see. Even when I turned up my graphics, I still couldn't see anything. Now, I know what you may be wondering. Just how much money have I earned? Well, check this out. $9.5 billion and an insane amount of RP, probably enough to unlock everything, and enough money to build whatever I want without ever running out. Now, this pollution thing doesn't sound all that good, right? Judging by my tone on all this, that's because, yeah, since the more polluted your world is, the less money you earn. You may have noticed in some of my earlier footage of money going down. You may wonder on just how I know just how polluted the world is. Well, you can check how polluted your world is by using a pollution meter, which gives you the pollution of the world as a percentage. The higher the percentage, the more polluted your world is. Also, there is such a thing as getting negative pollution, which can increase the amount of money you earn. So, obviously, I want this. One of the first things I did when I logged on was check my pollution meter. It was at 260%. Yeah, very not good. And also, almost every machine I use releases pollution. So, can't imagine why it would be this polluted. Well, how are we gonna remove all this pollution and make it called a negative? You can remove pollution by using scrubbers, which takes the CO2, or the pollution in the air, and cleans the air. For every time the scrubber is used, it releases residue. We've already established that residue is useless, so I'm just gonna store it in a silo. Also, scrubbers use water in order to clean the air, so we need a pump to get the water for the scrubbers But I have a different plan. Well, since I need scrubbers and water, that's easy enough. But the scrubbers can also work with different types of water. As with the research station 2, normal water, filtered water, and distilled water. Normal water can remove 3.24 pollution per hour. Filtered water can remove 3.57% pollution per hour. And distilled water can remove 6.29% pollution per hour. Well, I want distilled water, and I've already said where I need to make it, but I haven't explained how the machine works. It takes 200 liters, I think, that's what it's called, of water, and you put it into an atmospheric something, and it spits out distilled water. And also another water thing called concentrated salt solution, but I don't need it, so I'll just store it for now, I guess. Now, paying for these machines is already easy enough, so I just need to build a setup for the scrubbers and the Atmos something. This took an insane amount of time to do. Just with the fog, it wasn't very fun. And the atmosphere takes 5 mmF, I learned that it's called that, of energy just to make distilled water, which is a ton of energy. So I just made use of wind turbines too, and hooked a ton of them to the machine, just to power it. But a couple minutes in the building of trying to figure out how the atmospheric something, I found out a new type of rain pours down. Acid rain, I think. It does nothing to me, but it just pushes me around a bit, which was very surprising for me when I first experienced this for the first time. And from there until the end of the day, which was an hour of 12 minutes that I recorded on day 3, it's just me placing scrubbers and placing pipes for water distribution and residue irrigation to a gold fluid silo. And I forgot to mention, when I checked the diesel production, I found that it wasn't working, since I've already said that if the refined diesel machine is not emitting a black smoke, it means it's not working. So I checked the pipes for some reason, knowing not all of them were working the day prior, but I found out that it wasn't the pipes, obviously, but it was the residue storage, since every pipe was filled with residue, since it seems that the tier 2 fluid silo weren't enough. So I replaced every single silo with a gold one, and I just moved on to building the scrubber setup. You may have noticed I've been placing a weird looking pipe thing during day 2, and that was a fluid pipe intersection. Okay, so if you have 2 pipes crossing paths of each other, and you don't want to have a huge messy pipe system, just you can get one thing to go around the other pipe just to get it to the desired destination, well, this is for you. Ever had that problem of pipes intersecting with each other, and you don't want to spend that extra money just to build a huge pipe system just to transport items and fluids? Ever wanted a small, compact version of whatever this hideous looking pipe intersection is, just so you can transport those items? Well, introducing the fluid pipe intersection. Now, when those 2 pipes intersect with each other, you can put this pipe thing at the point of intersection, and you can drag the arrow of tool 3 in wherever direction you want it. It also works on items, fluids, and both at the same time. For just a low price of $5,000, you can get this item to completely change how you use pipes for all players, whether beginner or late game. Available now in Roblox Industrialist, where every job finds its way. Anyways, after a ton of frustration to the weather and blindness, I eventually got the scrubbers to work and started cleaning the air. And after checking it multiple times to see that everything was working properly, I finally was able to end the day with hope. Hope that nothing would go wrong again. And my hope did come. Thank you everyone who even watched this. Really, the only reason for doing all of this all of a sudden is because I was really bored this summer and wanted something to do. Yeah, really, I did this all for fun. And wow, I had fun doing this. This thing has been in the making for many weeks, and maybe by the time I post this, it'd be over a month of work put into this one video. I had no idea it would even take this long. And if you people like this, those who even watch me still, I'd be happy to do this again, and maybe a bit insane to do so. But now, I'm free from this absolute of a journey. This is the first time I ever do a video doing voice, and I really think that just doing an AI voice for this wouldn't make it interesting, because it wouldn't hold any emotion behind the voice. But in the video, I'm sure I'd express what I really felt during all of this. Not using text or using AI voiceover, just authentic. And I do promise to make my sequel to this later down the road. Maybe in a couple months. But now I'm free from all of this. And from the stress that all this has caused. Anyways, thank you. And I'll see you next time.